Vaccine hesitation plays a large role in modern-day society and during the era of COVID. In today's world, it is crucial to know what vaccines are, how they work, and why they are beneficial in order to have a better understanding of what vaccine hesitancy is. This video will cover several topics, including how the COVID-19 vaccine works, some common misconceptions about the COVID vaccine and vaccines in general, how the COVID-19 vaccine differs from other vaccines, some potential fears one may experience regarding the COVID vaccine, and other important information. To start off, I will present the results of a vaccine hesitancy survey sent out to a high school. This survey asked students and staff a number of questions about COVID, vaccines, and vaccine hesitation. The following questions were asked. Have you received the COVID-19 vaccine? 88.5% answered yes, while 10.3% answered no. Another 1.3% stated that they would prefer not to answer. The next question asked, have you received the COVID-19 boosters? Roughly 73.1% said yes, while 23.1% stated that they had not gotten the boosters, and 3.8% preferred not to answer. Next, the vaccine survey asked about any side effects people may have felt. The responders reported the following. 17.9% experienced fever, 32.1% experienced pain, redness, or swelling at the site of injection, 41% experienced fatigue, a third of the responders reported headaches, 32.1% reported muscle pain, 23.1% had chills, 9% had joint pain, 9% were nauseous or experienced vomiting, 3.8% had swollen lymph nodes, and 28.2% did not have any side effects. Another question asked, have you ever been hesitant to receive a vaccine or booster shot? Roughly 75% stated no, but a whopping 25% stated yes. The survey then asked, do you think vaccines are important and why? 10.3% said no, stating that natural immunity will suffice and that because people can still die with the vaccine, it is pointless. 89.7% said yes, stating that it is important to protect themselves, their families, immunocompromised individuals, and the general public. A very important question then asked, do you know anyone who is vaccine hesitant? To which 71.8% said yes, 25.6% said no, and 2.8% preferred not to answer. Those who said yes generally reported that the people they knew were hesitant because they believed false information on the internet. The final question on the survey asked if the person answering had any prior knowledge about vaccines and how they work. 76.9% stated yes, 16.7% stated no, and 6.4% preferred not to answer. To understand what vaccine hesitancy is in the modern world, it is crucial to understand how the COVID vaccine works. The COVID-19 vaccine is classified as an mRNA vaccine. To define an mRNA vaccine, we first need to define what mRNA is. Messenger ribonucleic acid, or mRNA, is a type of genetic material similar to DNA, used as the programming for proteins. mRNA is one side of a helix, while DNA is two sides. Inside of an mRNA vaccine, one will find mRNA strands belonging to the virus. These strands are small enough to not affect someone or give someone the virus, but large enough for your body to recognize the virus. Once the mRNA is injected into the body, white blood cells will find these viral strands. The cells will then produce antibodies which target and kill the virus at hand. The white blood cells will also memorize the specific type of virus at hand. This process provides immunity to the virus for the future. There are countless misconceptions about vaccines, and it is important to identify these misconceptions in order to make healthy decisions in the future. A very common misconception about the COVID-19 vaccine is that it was rushed to the market without proper testing. This is incorrect because, although COVID is new, mRNA vaccines have been developed and studied and tested since before the influenza vaccine. Another main misconception about the COVID-19 vaccine is that ingredients within the vaccine can be harmful or dangerous to an individual. This is inaccurate because most of the ingredients in vaccines are actually commonly found in most food products, such as sugars and fats. Some also think that natural immunity from getting COVID is better than the COVID vaccine. This is untrue because getting the vaccine is a more reliable and safe way to become immune to COVID than getting the virus itself. Not only this, but if natural immunity occurs instead of a vaccine, this could put several immunocompromised individuals at risk. Another more general vaccine misconception is that vaccines can cause autism. This is a very old myth based off of a flawed study and has since been thoroughly disproven. Furthermore, some believe that vaccines can make you sick. Although vaccines can cause side effects, they cannot directly give you the virus it's trying to prevent, and thereby cannot make you sick. It is important to understand the difference between the COVID-19 vaccine and other vaccines. To start off, nucleic acid vaccines use genetic material to encode for antigens which then activate the immune system to recognize the given virus. The COVID-19 vaccine is a good example of this type of vaccine. Another type of vaccine is a subunit vaccine. These vaccines directly use the small antigens produced by the given virus to activate the immune system. This provides short-term immunity and must be paired with adjuvant chemicals to provide long-term immunity. A good example of this is the hepatitis B vaccine. Finally, another common type of vaccine are whole pathogen vaccines. These vaccines contain weakened or dysfunctional viruses that cannot infect the body. They do, however, teach the immune system to recognize the virus and to kill it. Two good examples include the rabies vaccine and the polio vaccine. Here's just a little disclaimer. There are a lot of different types of vaccines. So much more than I just covered. This was meant to be an overview of the most common types of vaccines. It's important to know about the common fears about vaccines and why not to be afraid of them in the first place. Most of the following information comes from the high school survey and from other assorted personal interviews. The most common type of fear on the vaccine hesitancy survey was the fear of needles. 26.3% of individuals that were hesitant stated that they were so because of their fear of needles. For those who are scared of needles, it is important to weigh your options. You could ask yourself the question, is it better to get the shot to gain immunity or not to get the shot and risk getting the virus and spreading it to others? Others feared that the COVID vaccine wasn't tested enough before distribution. 21.1% of individuals stated that they were hesitant because they felt as though the vaccine had not been tested enough before distribution. It's important to remember that mRNA vaccines, such as the COVID-19 vaccine, have been studied and tested for several decades. These vaccines have been developed since the 1960s. Finally, another fear that people had was the fear of the side effects that came along with the vaccine. 15.8% of individuals that were hesitant reported being so because they were afraid of the side effects. It's important to remember that the side effects of vaccines can lead one to feel sick, but they can only pose health risks to those with immunocompromised immune systems, and are generally harmless otherwise. The other 36.8% of people who were vaccine hesitant did not give a reason for their hesitancy. All in all, it is really important to weigh the risks and fears involved when deciding to get a vaccine. Some other important information is that there are actually 3 different kinds of COVID-19 vaccines. There are mRNA vaccines, viral vector vaccines, and protein subunit vaccines. mRNA vaccines, as discussed before, use mRNA to teach people's cells how to make proteins, which trigger a response from their immune system, making them produce antibodies, protecting humans from getting the virus. 2 good examples of this are the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Next are viral vector vaccines. This type of vaccine involves the injection of a modified version of a virus, or a vector, to introduce genetic instructions to the body's cells, in turn producing harmless antigens, or parts of the original virus, causing an immune response. This makes the body remember the given virus, and a good example of this is the J&J vaccine. Finally, the last main type of COVID vaccine are protein subunit vaccines. These vaccines contain pieces of the virus or proteins, more specifically, the spike protein. These vaccines also contain adjuvants, which are chemicals that help the immune system remember the virus long term. The immune system will recognize these spike proteins and will be able to kill any cell or object containing these proteins. Spike proteins act like a virus fingerprint. A type of COVID vaccine that uses this method is the Novavax vaccine. Before ending this video, I just wanted to give a quick disclaimer. This video is just an overview on vaccines and on vaccine hesitancy. I'm not a health professional in any way, so I don't know everything. If you have any further questions, go to the CDC website as they have much more information than I do. And you can also ask any questions you have in the comments section, and I will do my best to read and answer each one. Thank you for watching.